right, much love from the mushroom. It's been a minute. You always need a tolerance break, even from Dan and Jared, not just from mushrooms. So thank you for the tolerance break, but we're back and we're gonna go strong. This is gonna be a hero dose. Nah, we're gonna do a microdose today, and then next podcast maybe we'll do a hero dose. But so I want to talk about something I guess that just came up because it's always nice to talk about things that are relevant, like recent, easier to just talk about that. So we recently had someone in our community who was a little bit uh, excited to microdose, but then they were a little bit hesitant. Maybe they had family member who was telling them, "Hey, be careful," or "I'm a little scared." So it got me thinking of what is the best balance of trying to help your friends or family or people in your community, but also not being pushy on them because it's difficult. I feel like there's a lot of people that I know would definitely benefit, or maybe not definitely, but I think there's a good chance they would benefit from microdosing or even like a full on trip, to be honest. But you can't tell someone to do that because if they're not in the right mindset, then it's
Right.
not going to help. It's kind of something that you have to come to on your own or you have to be wanting to do it. If you're not wanting to do it, it's not going to help you. So, how do you kind of promote something without being pushy about it, but wanting to help people because you know how powerful and helpful it is?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think a big thing is just knowledge is power. I really think that, giving people all of the possible resources and information that is objective and just, scientific is something that personally helps me because I'm someone, before I try anything, I like to know, the science of how it works, what's going into my body, because when I can logically justify it, I feel like it's a lot more easy to emotionally justify it because it's like, all right, this isn't just unsupported or there's it's claimless. So I feel like I'm always ranting about microdosing, how much it's helped me and stuff, and a lot of the time people are skeptical or have certain opinions, and the thing is I never try to take those opinions as negative judgments or as people knocking me. It's more so I'm like, oh no, actually you're wrong because X, Y, and Z, and I would be happy to link you to a study. So I've definitely changed a lot of my friends' minds about microdosing in particular. They thought it might have been one thing, or they thought it might just be kind of. I know other friends who take full doses and are like, I don't like to microdose. That takes away from the spirit and the intention of it. I'm like, oh well, have you considered? This is kind of more of just like a nootropic that is helping you on a more frequent level. Like Paul Stamets, who's the godfather of mushrooms, does this. So I think giving people safe, reliable information is a good way to give them everything there is to consider and make a more well-rounded decision.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely helpful that there's more and more information coming about. There kind of used to not be too much that was available, but you see more and more studies happening, and then it's I hate to say it, but it's in the mainstream like news a lot more. So I know some people, like probably my parents, who won't try something even if there's like studies about it until it's on like NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox,
Right.
like once it's on the mainstream news, they kind of get their assurance that it can be trusted. And you are seeing mainstream networks starting to at least talk about it. So I think
Hmm.
that makes it a little easier for people to trust me and you when we start preaching about the benefits and all that. But then I guess one step further. So this has happened also. You have people who are a little hesitant. They're like, oh, it's illegal, so I don't want to get it, or it's hard to get, or I don't know if I can trust my supplier because of
Hmm.
I've heard it can be moldy. Can it kill you? People think all mushrooms kill you for some reason. And then they think, oh, I'm going to have a bad trip. I don't want to have a bad trip. No, microdosing, you're not really going to trip at all. You might not even feel anything. But they finally try it. And then a lot of people go, oh, it didn't work. Like after one time they try it and they go, it didn't work. I was still pissed off. Or up didn't work. I didn't feel anything. Or up didn't work. I literally felt exactly the same way that I feel before. So I guess for me that's a little frustrating because like I haven't had too many medications that I've been on, fortunately, my whole life. But I even like when I'm sick with like strep throat, I don't take a strep throat pill once and or the syrup once and say it didn't work because I still have strep throat. You like you take the entire prescription because that's what's needed to get rid of it. And same thing with like I feel like if you have to take an SSRI, a lot of people don't take the SSRI once and go, "Oh, doesn't work." Like I'm still pissed off. But for some reason, people don't have the patience with microdosing, and they try it once and they go, "Oh, it doesn't work," and it's frustrating because that's not really how it's intended to work. So how do you kind of explain that, or get about that, or tell people to be patient or to give it an actual try?
Well, I think I agree that it can feel frustrating sometimes, but I think that the main thing, especially here in the West, is unprogramming people's expectations of, you know, of Western medicine. I think a lot of people like that. That's what's wrong with our society, in my opinion, and that's what gives us so many of these issues health wise. Is that we look for quick fixes to things. We eat fast food. We look for things to work instantly. And when we're rushing through life looking for instant gratification, we're probably not treating our body right, and things catch up to us, and we get illnesses, or we have stress or emotional things, and then we want an instant fix for that too. When the irony is, the instant fix is the thing that got us there in the first place, and what we need
Right.
is long term gratification, slower longevity. So I think a big thing is kind of like unprogramming the Western rushing. Everything needs to be done instant. We need to see
Did you just say
results.
Russian?
Rushing.
There's
Uh,
sanctions on that, Danny. Our
yo,
podcast is gonna be canceled
we're
now. Come
canceled
on.
now. God damn it, Putin's here. Fucking no, but I do think like unprogramming people's expectations of what is, of how things work, and just telling people like, hey, give it a shot. Give it a fair month. Take if you're taking, let's say, the Fadiman schedule. 2 capsules per week for 1 month and see how you feel. I think just letting people know like, hey, this might take a little bit, explaining that nothing works overnight, and just having faith and giving it a shot. Because I think the other thing is, if someone tries it and there's nothing negative coming from it, it's like if they didn't have an adverse reaction, or they didn't whatever have any negative experience, it's like at least give it a shot. Like if nothing happened, if it was just a placebo or whatever, then at least like give it a little bit more time to see. It's definitely hard to convince everyone. People are naturally skeptical, especially with substances that are in a legal gray area right now, and I totally understand why. That's just another case of why I try to give people as much information as possible about how microdosing works. I might link them to a guide on the Fadiman schedule, where Fadiman himself is explaining why you do it in a 3-day cycle. That there's lingering effects, and it's not going to be an immediate thing. So I think knowledge is power, and for the skeptics, you just got to kind of like be patient with them, because I mean, we've grown up in a society of years of programming people for quick results, and you gotta, be patient and meet people in the middle and say, hey, like, I understand that you want to see this, have a little bit of faith. If you're not feeling anything after a month of trying then that's completely fine. But, at least give it its due diligence. Like the same thing you said with SSRIs, that shit takes, months to reprogram your brain. They start you on low doses, they increase it over time and stuff. So it's like, nature and plant medicine is obviously something that is more fast acting than SSRIs, and there's a lot less side effects. But at the same time, it's still, you need to give it its fair shot, and kind of surrender to the experience, because as we've talked about a million times on this podcast, intention and surrender and stuff are part of the benefits of it. So if someone's just showing a lot of resistance, and just, it might be better off if they don't. If they're just going to be in a negative headspace, it might amplify that with microdosing. So yeah, just I try to be very nurturing with people's judgments and expectations, and try to, because I understand why this is a societal thing. It's not a personal thing. So kind of deprogramming people, giving them safe, reliable information, and letting them reformulate opinions, and hopefully having a better outcome.
Definitely, I agree, and I feel more equipped to try and convince some people now, Danny. Thank you for your good insights and advice. I think that was a good little episode back. I hopefully some people enjoyed those insights as much as I did. And then let's get back in the swing of thing. If anyone has any questions that they specifically want to hear about, let us know. We'll make sure we try and answer them. If anyone wants to be on the podcast and talk about their own experiences, we would absolutely love to have that as well. So just let us know. Reach out. Danny, any closing thoughts, comments, concerns?
Well, I was telling Jeremy off camera beforehand that a friend of mine who I recently met is a brilliant neurobiologist. She could talk about mushrooms for days. She talked my ear off for an hour. I didn't open my mouth once. I sat there and listened because she had so much amazing knowledge. This is something that I research and am fairly well educated in, but I felt like an infant when I was listening to her. This girl is brilliant. So we were discussing getting her on a podcast in the near future. That would probably be more of a heroic dose, maybe 30 minutes to an hour of some deep dive science of mushrooms and stuff. And as I was saying, having good information from people who know about this stuff and have spent their life studying it is definitely the best way to tear down inhibitions. Because when you hear the people who really know talk about it and that passion flowing through them, you're like, oh wow, there's something to that. So yeah, we'll probably be getting her on in the near future, so that's something to look forward. And then other than that, I'm glad we're back on a little micro today with the community, and I'm sending much love as per usual. Got my have a nice trip shirt on, so
There we
it is
go.
what it is.
And and congrats to Danny for his debut in Austin on the mic with his boy Matt Marks, the debut of Aphantasia.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear it?
I don't think it's coming through.
Oh, well, I can hear it. It's good. All right, have a good one. Much love from the mushroom. Talk to you soon.
Much
Peace.
love, peace.